All right. This, if anyone is listening, is going to be the third and final episode in the Let's Play series, House Varun Focus. So, what the heck happened in the last episode? The last episode, we did Andrasia's, companion quest. I will say I did do her marriage quest off screen. There's like a little bit of details in that. We do see like the whole dagger tradition out of the Varun. That does tell us like the Varun's kind of militaristic nature, but it seems like this militaristic nature is out of necessity. What also did we do in the last episode? Did the companion quest. There was another quest we did. Yes, the quest in the UC Vanguard. What are we doing today? Today is the Pilgram's Path. So this is kind of like the final section of the base game that has any intel on the Varun themselves. So we're going to see a little bit of the Varun theology in this episode, and how it kind of interacts with the other religious groups of the settled systems. So we're going to do this, and we're going to kind of pay attention to a lot of the dialogue and, run through this. And, am I live? Yes, I am. Hooray. I am live. That's good. So we're going to do this quest and focus on the dialogue and see what we can learn about the Varun. So let's go, Andrasia.
Well, if it isn't the newest addition to the family.
Sarah was just regaling us with a story involving her and Vladimir that is clearly 100% fabricated.
Are you calling me a liar, Cartry?
No, ma'am. Wouldn't dream of it.
At this point, we've all got stories that sound made up. Lucky that all of us here know they're true.
Some of our stories are a bit weirder than others, you gotta admit.
Okay, sure, but it's not a contest, Barrett. None of us thought we'd end up here like this. I was sure I'd have a nice, quiet, boring career in Mast.
I kind of figured I'd just keep securing religious relics.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear that. Did you say securing or stealing?
You're never gonna let it go, are you?
You should know by now that is not how Walter operates. He never lets anything go. It's gotten him this far.
Now, Andrasia, I'm sure your answer would be something about the life of a smuggler. Am I right?
Hey, no judgment here. In addition to weird stories, I think we've all done a few things we're not proud of.
And that is one contest Barrett would definitely win.
All right. I think their dialogue's done.
What about you? I know you were kind of thrown into all this.
Discovered an artifact and tussled with pirates all on his first day. No big deal, right?
Beats another day at the mines, that's for sure. If I had known, I never would have touched that thing. It is important, and I am glad to be part of it. There is no going back after what I've seen. Beats another day at the mines.
I bet it does.
I don't know. Mining might have been a much safer career choice in the long run.
Beats most jobs, if you ask me. Certainly weirder than most.
I was going to say that miners don't get to uncover the secrets of the universe, but you kind of did, didn't you?
And thanks to your time at Argos, you've got marketable skills to fall back on once we're done discovering the secrets of the universe.
We have an incredibly capable group of people here. We have a path to follow, and we're going to see where it leads. We're going to figure out what this all means and look after each other along the way. No matter what happens, we're all in this together.
I'll drink to that.
Scanning.
Okay,
Hey,
now I think they're done.
I feel like I've been waiting my whole life for this. Constellation, the artifacts. That doesn't sound crazy, does it?
Let's exhaust these questions. You really think the Starborn could be something like avenging angels?
There's certainly precedent, isn't there? We've been operating for a while now on the fringes of what humans, know and understand. Why rule anything out? I just think we should be open-minded, keep everything on the table.
Angels probably wouldn't need spaceships. You're right. We shouldn't make any assumptions. I'm not sure I'm ready for supernatural adversaries. You're right. We shouldn't make any assumptions.
It's just like the artifacts. The more we learn, the more we can start narrowing things down. It's the argument I have with Walter every other week. Science and reason have their place, but so does faith. We have all of them at our disposal, and I don't for 1 second believe they're mutually exclusive.
These artifacts all came out of caves.
Second one was on Kazal, buried the same as the one you found. But the first one, right under our noses for years, sitting in storage, masquerading as an oversized paperweight. Can you imagine potentially the greatest discovery in human history collecting dust?
What brought you to Constellation?
Well, there was some overlap in interests. I'd spent years searching for religious relics from human history. I had made a really incredible discovery, only to lose it to a greedy corporation. So I tried to steal it back. In the process, I met Walter. Turned out he owned the corporation. After a long talk, we realized we had a lot in common, and I was invited to join Constellation.
Sounds like Mateo is the sci-fi version of Indiana Jones. Mateo, I've overheard the Starborn talking about unity. That sounds like something the Sanctum University preaches.
Unity? Huh. That's an important concept in Keeper Aquilas' speeches. You think it's connected?
It can't be a coincidence. I know it's a long shot, but we should talk to him. The Sanctum believes there's answers in the stars. This could be it. So if you're uncertain who the Sanctum University is, they are basically a relatively new group of religious folk who sprouted up in the settled systems, and they basically their key argument for the existence of God is the existence of science. Basically, that the universe is intelligible and we can understand it, therefore God exists. So this is actually an older argument for God, popularized during kind of like the time span of like Sir Isaac Newton in that. So it's not out of nowhere. It's just a relatively older argument for God, but that's essentially their philosophy. It can't be a coincidence.
Well, it could be. But what have we got to lose? I'll meet you there.
Alrighty, let's go.
Hey Dan, I've got something.
Hooray, I got toast. Someone please remind me to get a screenshot at some point for this video.
let's talk.
I need to remember that because That always happens on a live stream, and I kind of forget to take like a screenshot to put up as the thumbnail afterwards. All right.
The ancient teachers of this science, said he, promised impossibilities and performed nothing. The modern masters promise very little. They know that metals cannot be transmuted and that the elixir of life is a chimera, but these philosophers, whose hands seem only made to dabble in dirt and their eyes to pore over the microscope or crucible, have indeed performed miracles.
I do appreciate that not every meter of land was plowed under to build this city. This tree is far too grand for such a fate.
They ascend into the heavens. They have discovered how the blood circulates and the nature of the air we breathe. They have acquired new and almost unlimited powers. They can command the thunders of heaven, mimic the earthquake, and even mock the invisible world with its own shadows. Such were the professor's words. Rather, let me say, such the words of the fate, announced to destroy me. As he went on, I felt as if my soul were grappling with a palpable enemy. One by one, the various keys were touched, which formed the mechanism of my being. Chord after chord was sounded, and soon my mind was filled with one thought, one conception, one purpose. So much has been done, exclaimed the soul of Frankenstein. More, far more will I achieve. Treading in the steps already marked,
Okay, I think we
pioneer
paid attention enough to Frankenstein there. A little distracted. But let's go.
Aquilus has helped.
Keeper Aquilus, can we have a moment?
Ah, Matteo. It's been too long. How are your parents? Your mother still struggling with that azalea garden?
No, she figured that out a while ago. Had to adjust the pH levels in the soil. But, Keeper, I didn't come to catch up.
Oh. Well, what's on both your minds?
We need to talk about Unity. We think your church is connected to a group of space weirdos. This is all you, Matteo. Let's have Matteo handle it.
Keeper, we were hoping to talk to you about Unity.
You want to subject your friend here to one of our talks, Matteo? The future of humanity is always a long discussion.
No, that's not exactly what I meant. Keeper, when you talk about Unity, well, does it mean anything else? Something secret?
Perhaps you should talk about this inside.
Ah, yes. They build a monument to the people they lost, but not the people they killed.
Yes. The UC, they do recognize their fallen in war, but they simply don't recognize their savagery. They killed all the Freestar Collective settlers on Vesta during the colony wars.
Hi, Dan.
Now that we have a little privacy, why don't you tell me exactly what it is that brought you two here?
We're not going to do the Starborn option because that will skip a lot of the dialogue. It started with the discovery of the anomalies, the artifacts. We were attacked by a group called the Starborn. We found a series of temples that grant unusual powers. So let's start in the beginning.
They're like nothing we've ever seen, Keeper. Gravitational distortion, sub-audio harmonic sequencing, unidentifiable energy fluctuations?
I caught half of that. So, these things are unusual? Even in your experience? There have always been mysteries that seem to defy our understanding of the universe. Beyond rational thought. We enter life as an act of someone else's faith in us. There's no way of knowing who we will become, and yet the risk is made anyway. So you've pushed into the unknown, not knowing where it would take you. And it's brought you here.
We know it's a stretch, but we hope you can help us. I don't need a lecture keeper. I need answers. This is a mistake. I'm an explorer, not a priest.
I think I can. If you're willing to find your way in the dark for a bit longer, I can give you a path to discovering its meaning. There's an old story, far older than the Sanctum Universum, of someone who walked the settled systems and saw every corner of it. This pilgrim claimed he found the true meaning of unity. I always thought of it as just a parable for trying to bring humanity together, but maybe it's more.
Let's hear this story then. There must be more to it. I need facts, Keeper. Not bedtime fairy tales. Maybe this pilgrim was a starborn. I think this pilgrim was the hunter. In that the hunter eventually becomes Keeper Aquilus, and he knows exactly who the pilgrim is, but he's withholding this information.
I understand. In my story, the pilgrim met the founders of the House of Enlightenment and the anecdote of the Varun, and he gave them each a part of the truth. Then he goes to his final resting place to live out the rest of his days in contemplation of infinitum addendum, his addition or contribution to the infinite. But what if the story isn't a metaphor, but a code, a way of finding the pilgrim again, or at least his grave?
Infinitum addendum. That's an odd saying, very specific. Sounds like the House of Enlightenment and Varun have the other parts then. Unless this story includes a set of coordinates, we're not finding anything.
Yes, something must be there. I just can't put my finger on it. Maybe the answer will become clear when we have more. The House of Enlightenment and Varun have versions of this story.
Fine, I'll talk to them. Talking to House Varun seems like a mistake. They're dangerous. You've already talked to them. Why send me?
Because I wasn't looking to find unity in the same sense you are. A fresh set of eyes might reveal the truth.
Were you talking that to them because you wanted to figure out what they knew about the Pilgrim because you are the Pilgrim? Possibly. And you were going to take up the mantle of Keeper Aquilus and form your own religion in the form of the Sanctum Universum? I think that's what's going on here.
The enlightened work out of the well here in New Atlantis, helping the poorest citizens find a better life for themselves. Varun worshippers are more enigmatic, but there is a lone zealot that was captured recently for attacking UC ships. I visited her a couple of times. Hopefully she'll be willing to talk to you as well.
I'll stay here with the stars for you. We need to catch up. And I wouldn't mind asking
Okay.
a few more questions.
So we're going to go to the well first, and then from the well, we will go talk to that Varun prisoner.
Hi, Dan.
So we'll see what the House of Enlightenment has to offer us. If you are unfamiliar with the House of Enlightenment, they are a, I think you would call them a religious group, but in the end, they are atheists that have kind of a religious structure, which makes sense. Like, especially if you view history, and like the Soviets were a secular nation, and they kind of understood that there are certain elements of religion that are kind of like necessary, like things like tradition. It provides a lot of structure societally, but it would make sense that if all the world's religions collapse, that we would see kind of a religion or like a mock religion pop up in the form of the House of the Enlightenment, because of like the necessary functions that religion does perform. And when we talk to these people, we're going to see what those kind of necessary functions are, which is kind of like community, charity, stuff like that.
Hi, Dan. What do you need?
Let me know if I can help you.
Don't look at me. I am gonna...
Hi, friend.
We run a number of social programs, from financial aid to food banks. If it's about the financial or food assistance programs, we are backlogged. Don't worry, we're doing everything we can. Oh, you're not? Sorry. Can I help you?
Keeper Aquila sent me. I need to talk about the Pilgrim. I am looking for something called unity, and no, not some vague concept of the word. We might be looking for some vague concept of the word.
We understand that you are busy, but this might be important. Anything you could tell us would be helpful.
Listen, I've talked about this with him a ton of times, and there's no record of a Unity Pilgrim, but since you both insist, our early records are mostly administrative. Humanitarian projects, group counseling notes, charity expenditures. But there is a series of exchanges the founding members recorded in a lot of detail. It's the closest thing I have to what Aquilus is describing.
You talked about this with Keeper Aquilus before?
Yeah, I mean, he's always going on about trying to bring people of all beliefs together. Really wants there to be some shared story or origin. Look, I like the Keeper, but belief is the problem, okay? We don't need a shared narrative or theology. We need to help each other in practical terms.
Let's hear it. If you're going to recite meeting notes to me at me, I want coffee and donuts. Let's hear it.
A man walks into the first House of Enlightenment. The founding members just call him the Drifter. So they think he's a charity case at first, but no, the Drifter asks them a bunch of questions. If your philosophy is built on an individual's own morality, what about the second person? That second person might disagree. Isn't the problem of two what you're really looking for? And the founders respond, each individual must understand how the second person lifts them up. All of human effort is a story of cooperation pushing us forward. And it kind of goes on like that. He comes back every week for a year. Same conversation every time. Second person this, the problem of two that.
Yes, this is basically an argument for God through the case of morality. And it's, it's quite a tricky predicament, because if morality is relative, then how can you condemn anything? That person's opinion is just as valid as yours. And it's quite a real problem. It's like, how do you get people to agree to do charitable things?
I'm sorry,
if they agree.
About to say something?
Hold your mouth. I was talking. How do you get people to agree to do charitable things if they might not view it as good? What did they mean? Each individual must understand how the second lifts them up. Let's ask the question.
It's part of our core principles. There's no God pushing us to do good for some eternal reward. We have to help each other because we choose to. If no one takes responsibility for making the settled systems better, then we're just leaving it to the tyrants to bully the rest of us.
Mm-hmm. I also hate the number 2 with a fiery passion. Maybe there was a message hidden in what he was saying.
Honestly, I think the founding members made it all up. There was a little more hesitation being openly atheist in the early days. I think they were experimenting with writing their own scripture. Fortunately, that got abandoned pretty quick. After the records of the Drifter end, you never see anything like it again.
Thank you. You've given me a lot to think about. I don't feel any closer to the answers I wanted. Can you tell me anything else about Unity? What it means?
Besides what the Keeper would say about it? Sounds like a gathering point, or a center. Or, in mathematics, it would mean one, like the one, the first or the beginning.
Thank you, you've given me a lot to think
Always
about.
happy to help. If you'll excuse me, I got a lot of aid efforts to coordinate.
Let's see if we can ask him
Nice talking to you. Hope you find whatever it is you're looking
a little bit about the House of Enlightenment.
We started as an intellectual movement built around atheism. As our numbers increased, we began focusing on humanitarian efforts and showing what humanity can achieve when we work together.
Who pays for all this?
We don't exactly pass around an offering plate, if that's what you're asking. But we do run mostly on donations. And as you might have guessed from the surroundings, we try and stretch those donations as far as we can.
We're not going to do your quest. I've done it before. Basically, that quest, you help someone that, I believe he was a veteran of the Colony Wars, and he's suffering from some form of like brain damage, and you have to like he can't take care of himself, and you have to like get him back to his house and feed him as well. Very interesting quest line. I might do it later on and provide a little bit of commentary behind it as well. But also the Sanctum Universe also has a short quest line. So let's
is important to UC security.
Let's talk to our Varun prisoner. I think we're going to take a screenshot in here, and I will probably use that as the thumbnail for this video.
Aren't you the one I saw running away from that crazy guy? Man.
A visitor? I have all the company I need.
Okay. Serpent's Embrace. Do you wait the shrouding, sister? I know you've talked to Keeper Quillis about the Varun faith. That is the single loneliest statement I have ever heard. We're going to go with the Serpent's Embrace here.
The great serpent shall reveal himself and shroud the entire universe, leaving only the faithful. Why do you hide among the accursed?
Once I felt the cold of space. Only the great serpent made sense. I received a vision. It could only have come from the great serpent.
You are promised. May you live eternal at his side.
I had no idea. That is an extraordinary claim to make.
Now, Kindred, what is it you need from me? I require no company.
I know you've talked to Keeper Aquilus about the Varun faith.
He knows not the truth. He sends another to ask more incessant questions.
It is something, at least, that he has come to speak with you. I suspect few others would.
The Great Serpent waits in the shadows. He will entwine the universe, and all but the faithful will be made as dust. That is the truth. No more, no less.
Keeper Aquilus spoke of a pilgrim. I need to know more about him. A cosmic space serpent seems like a poor answer for the universe's problems. I admire your conviction. We're going to go with the first option here.
If the Keeper has been to see you, perhaps he has mentioned it?
Yes, I have spoken to your Keeper about this. I will tell you what I told him, and then you will leave me. Jinan Varun meets the unbeliever. He gives false prophecy to Jinan. But such is Jinan's conviction in the Great Serpent, he does not hesitate. He cuts the unbeliever down. But the unbeliever returns. Jinan realizes the Great Serpent is testing him, and he will not be found wanting. 4 times they fight. Over 120 rotations of the planet they are on. Remember these 4 battles, Jinan, the unbeliever says. Remember these 120 rotations. But Jinan knows this is blasphemy, and delivers the killing blow. That is all.
I think I understand. There must be more to our God than just killing. I need to know the meaning of a word, unity.
I have heard of no such thing. If it exists, it is a shadow that the Great Serpent casts to deceive the faithless.
I think I understand.
Then we are done. Leave me. And take this. It is of no more use to me, and it is better kept by a promise of the Great Serpent.
Thank you. Okay. So, I probably should say this, that I do think that the Great Serpent is a metaphor for the Unity. If you notice a lot of their symbols, it'll be like a circle with a snake biting its own tail, which is kind of symbolic for the Unity.
Hi, Dan.
And I also very much think that Jian Varuk is a Starborn. He similar. I can't even speak today, and I broke my freaking dislocated my leg. But I'm pretty sure Jian Varuk is a Starborn. He had a vision during a, what was it? A grav jump. I believe it was in 2180. I mean, you can correct me if I'm incorrect on the year on that. Where he saw the Great Serpent and basically started the House Varun religion.
Wow. I feel...
All right.
Hi, Dan. What do you need?
We're gonna take a seat.
Oh, you're back. What did you learn? Was there something hidden in their stories, like we thought?
The Enlightened's story used the word second and two. I spoke with the Rune Zealot. She said Xion fought 4 times over 120 days. In your story, the Pilgrim contemplates infinitum addendum. That must mean something. So let's just start in the beginning.
Planets are often named by number. That second might mean the second planet in the system. What else did you learn?
All right, I spoke to the Rune Zealot. She said Xion fought 4 times over 120 days.
If there really is a location the Pilgrim wanted us to find, those do sound awfully like coordinates. Was there anything else?
In your story, the Pilgrim contemplates infinitum addendum. That must mean something.
Yes. What he added to infinity. Maybe that points to a name. If we're looking for his resting place, we'd need to know the name of the star system, wouldn't we? Let's see. We have something that could be coordinates. Something that could point to a planet in the system. But what's the name of the system? Infinitum addendum. What if we break down the parts? No systems named finite or add. That just leaves in and dumb. Well, that's certainly how I feel.
Next planet I find, I'm naming Dum Dum. What do you think?
Well, I suppose that'll make someone laugh.
As long as someone laughs. Indum. That's a name of a star system.
Yes, that's it. The second planet in Indum, at 4 and 120. That's where you'll find the Pilgrim's resting place. And from there, maybe you'll find the true meaning of unity. Before you go, you've now spoken to many different perspectives in our universe. In a way, you'll be carrying their philosophies with you on this journey. I know you're looking for a specific unity, but if you had to guess what it was, what interpretation would you give it?
There's something sacred out there, bringing everything together. It's just a word, and I need to take responsibility for finding it, not pray. Only total conviction will bring us the truth. We are being tested. Let's go with the third option.
Conviction. Another word for strength. Can the truth not be revealed to the weak? Someone with doubts.
I won't find the answer by doubting every step I make. Conviction carries the doubtful to the truth. Isn't doubt the very opposite of belief?
That belief can come and go could be argued to be the very mechanics of faith itself, like breathing air in and out. What do you believe?
Conviction carries
So
the
that's your
doubtful to
intention.
truth.
Your friends, your companions, all of them will be swept along to the answer by the might of your forward momentum?
You make perseverance sound like a bad thing.
Well, I won't keep you any longer. This has been fun, I have to admit. Go, find your truth.
All right, let's go. Does let us know a little bit about the Varun themselves, their conviction. They seem to be a little bit more technologically advanced, in my opinion, compared to the UC and the Freestar. Why do I say that? They have probably one of the best guns in the game. So, let's go. And that's probably due to their conviction and steadfastness. You apply that to scientific discovery, and you get people that persist. Don't give up as easily. What's this? Trader. We are not doing the acquire the power thing. I'll do that later on, off screen. I don't think any of you would want to watch me run from temple to temple.
Wow, is this your ship, Dan? It's so cool. Oh, look at all these shiny lights and buttons.
Where? Oh, where?
I'll try not to touch you, especially the big red buttons. Red buttons. No different. Resist the temptation. Machines have temptations. I'm calculating right now what would happen if I press that button over there. Is that temptation? Makes you think, doesn't it?
Alright. Now I know there is little data slates that we're going to find. Ah, here's one. That's writing 2. Let's read them in order, if at all possible. So let's see if we can find the first one. That's writing 3. Writing 4. Writing 2. Is writing 1. I don't think it's in here. Maybe it's in here. Are you... Yes, writing 1. Pilgrims writing 1. The credulous simplicity of mundane humans never ceases to amaze me. My worst instincts, the evil spirit, draw me toward a form of contempt for them, but I remember that I am privy to that which they are not. I cannot and should not judge them for a lack of vision when I know very well the blinders which obscure their sight. I once wore them myself, after all. I hope, for their sake, that they may someday understand. But for my sake, I wish to be left alone. Okay. Take that trauma pack. And I believe 2 was over here. I feel like these are not placed in an order for you to find them in the correct order. Pilgrim's writing 2. So here is the crux of my troubles. To accomplish anything, I need to work with other people. I need assistance, I need workers, I need hands. As we work together, they inevitably ask questions, and I can never help talking. It starts innocently enough. They want to understand how someone who believes in science can also believe in the divine. Or they have their own misunderstandings instilled by some borderline religious remnant. My weakness is my inability to let alone. I want them to understand, so I try, gently as I might, to nudge their minds along the right path. Then there are follow-ups and followings. The trouble is that I genuinely care for these people. It would be so much easier if I didn't. So let's find number 3. Are you number 3? No, you're number 4. And you're number 3. Pilgrim's rating 3. Today, in a soft voice, my assistant asked me if there was anything above the Unity. It was all I could do to keep from shouting that I could scarcely comprehend the misunderstanding that would lead to such a question. It was asked honestly, and I answered it as best I could. But if even my closest confidant here can fail to grasp the most basic of these truths, why am I bothered to explain any of it to any of them? Every word that drops from my mouth gets gobbled up, misheard, misremembered, misunderstood, and mistranslated before I can issue the slightest clarification. People are necessary, but people are madness. I attempt to withdraw, to go off alone, to commune with Unity in my own way. They followed. Of course they followed. Pilgrim's writing 4. At last, a bit of peace. A piece of peace. Is that anything? Is that funny? Why am I trying to be funny? Have they driven me mad at last? Is there a difference between writing to myself and talking to myself? The former certainly seems more acceptable than the latter. I recall again that my mind is my own, and that even if it exists, that is sufficient for me to believe in everything else. The Unity has restored me once more. This time I act alone for now. Myself is a formidable opponent. I should have expected as much, but vanity is, thankfully, not among my vices. Regardless, it turns out time spent in solitude is, in my case, time with a very sick man, or whatever it is I have become. I do not like this person.
Captain,
quite
it's
cold.
really cold.
Too bad one cannot wear spacesuits like sweaters.
Alright, so I think we need to go back to the building? Yes.
Right behind you.
Check, make sure nothing's in here. Nothing appears to be in here. Anything in the chest? I'll take the credits. Take the credits. Ah, our final writing. Pilgrim's writing 5. I find myself thinking about his various pasts and my possible futures. I imagine continuing on the road, acquiring more power, more knowledge, more development of myself. I imagine passing through once more to another world to begin the process anew. What is notable here? The road does seem gratifying. Every step is one of intrinsic reward, and I feel myself anticipating the pleasures and seeing a more content version of myself in that future. Then, for the sake of considering all possibilities, I imagine if I took a different path, if I stopped running, stopped seeking to gather my own power, if I instead embrace the twingings of compassion I feel in my heart and let myself care for the people who seem to gather about me wherever I try to work, if I simply lived and taught, and perhaps brought others to the light and died. The road also seems gratifying. I also see a contented version of myself in that future. Here is the difference, though. When I stop thinking about the glories I could achieve for myself, the pleasure fades immediately. When I stop thinking about staying and building something, the feeling endures. There is something more sustaining about it, more fulfilling. I don't know what this difference signifies, but I am grateful for the time I've taken to notice it. Unlock personal room. Pilgrim's computer. If you came seeking the right answers, you will know the right questions to ask. What are you talking about? How do I open this door? Where's the food? What is the unity? In return, your question with a question. If you have read my writings, what is the burden of people? People are necessary, but people are madness. They're too heavy. People gotta go on diets. We all seem to end up just fighting each other. It's the first option. People are necessary, but people are madness. Who is your most formidable opponent? The hunter? No one? Is that a reference to the bounty hunters? No one? Probably not. Myself. Where does enduring content come from? A growing, becoming better, stronger? A nice cool drink on a warm day, in stopping, in embracing compassion. You came here seeking the true meaning of unity. If you still wish to find it, there is one final piece of myself in the next room. I found my own answer a long time ago, but not in the way I was expecting. I hope your journey gives you the truth. Pilgrim's final writing. Pilgrim's final writing. I don't know what the correct answer is. I might never. Increasingly, though, I am comfortable with not knowing. The more I reflect on being here, in this world, in this time, the more I think it is precisely where I need to be. This time will be different. It won't be about me, so I won't have to run. I can actually build something with intent instead of scrambling to fix something that others create in my name. It can be something beneficial. I can be something beneficial. I'm leaving behind the other people. This world has no place for him. Let him die. Let me live to enlighten the blessed universe before me. You have found the end of my journey, but to know everything, you must find its beginning. On Hylia 2, the island hides the scorpion. The scorpion's sting hides the truth. So, it looks like we need to go to Hylia 2. did you pick? Anything else here? I'll take the ammo. I think we got everything.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Derek. Let's go to Halea too. Alright, we did the little puzzle thingy. Now we're gonna go back to our ship and take off. Let's go right to the cockpit. Getting a weird clicking in my audio. Oh, there it goes. I think so too. Let's set this. Alright, I'll dock with your ship. Lai, I'm here to find out what the Unity is. You killed my friend. You're dead. Why alone?
Because we all have our secrets to keep, don't we? Of course you are. Now come aboard. Let's talk.
Alrighty. It's bored. And let's see what these guys have to say.
So it's finally happened, hasn't it? I had a feeling when you slipped through my grasp at New Atlantis. But I'm a step behind, aren't I?
You're Starborn. More than that. You're reliving your old life.
Is this even the first time we're having this conversation? It's not, is it? Oh, you are in deep.
You could have told Constellation what you are, but you didn't. Why?
I had regrets in my last universe. I wanted to make up for them. I wanted to see them again, like old times. I wanted to film some YouTube videos, and I wanted to redo the storyline.
Listen to me. They're not the same people you knew. It's not fair to them to try to turn them into what you had before.
Oh, let it go. We've all retraced ourselves a few dozen or so times. I say we play along with your little reincarnation. The more freedom you have, the more new things happen.
I am not doing this for you. I just wanted to be free to gather the artifacts on my own. Maybe the emissary is right. Next time, I'll be honest with them. To the emissary. Why is reliving my old life so bad?
You're Starborn. And all of us need to be responsible for the fact that we are visitors in this universe.
Lies. We have as much right to be here as anyone.
But do we have the right to turn another universe into our playground? You had the power to tell your friends the truth, and you chose not to.
There's that hypocrisy again. How much easier would your first time through the Unity have been if the emissary had told you the truth? Did their threats from the shadows keep your universe safe from the Starborn? No, it didn't. We each get to decide what's right and wrong for us. That's the freedom the Unity offers.
I'm not doing this for you. I just want to be free to gather the artifacts on my own.
Exactly. That's what we all want, isn't it? Who needs rules when we have infinity?
If you insist on walking this path, then walk it fully. Go to the moon. Follow its secrets to the next artifact. Maybe remembering what happens to Earth will give you focus.
I already know. I need to head to NASA. Going straight there.
Here. The key. You'll also need to return to Constellation and find the artifacts in the fringes of space. They'll be expecting you to tell them about the Unity.
And it might be best to give them the version where you're still human, and not a Starborn that's been lying to them this whole time.
Let's see if I can ask them any questions.
The Unity is meant for whomever can get there. Don't fall for that talk of worthiness. Whoever created the artifacts and built those temples is playing a game with us. One whose prize is access to the center of all creation. There are no rules. Whoever gets all the pieces wins. And I've won. Over and over.
Derek, you're like standing right in between us.
I find the easiest pathway to it. They enter the Unity, take artifacts from others, employ force. All the things I do. I am many things, but I would never tell anyone what to do with their gifts. That is your decision, not someone else's. The emissary wants to become the judge of who gets to enter, but the Unity itself doesn't judge.
Yeah, Derek, if you can not stand on top of the people I'm talking
I'll tell
to.
you everything I can.
Who was I in your universe? What was I like?
Different. I never know who you are when I meet a new version. but so much of you stays the same. It's hard. But each universe is precious in its own way. Mine will never have its original you in it again, as yours won't have its real me.
Actually, it does have its real you, because I didn't let anyone die in this universe, but... So, you try to protect the artifacts, keep them from being abused.
You've seen the terror the Hunter causes. Every time a Starborn goes through the Unity, they get more artifacts, find more temples, gain more power. We can't let more like him abuse these gifts to destroy whatever's in their way.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Derek. We're going now. I think we are going to be probably ending this stream here. I'm going to travel back to my home outpost, and we'll do a quick recap on what we did. Archimedes 5-8. Let's see here. So, let's recap. What did we do? We did the Pilgrim's Path quest. This had us talk to the 3 major religious groups of the settled system. So we first met with Keeper Quillis,
weary of seeing places like this,
who I believe is, in fact, the Hunter. I think the Hunter becomes Keeper Quillis. We also talked to the House of the Enlightened. They are a group of atheists. I would say they're a group of religious atheists, if that makes any kind of sense. They kind of have a lot of the same tenets of religion, charity, seem to have an objective view of morality. I don't know how they justify it, but they do. And then after that, we talked to the Varun prisoner. A lot of conviction out of them, stand by their beliefs, can be a little bit, how do I say this? Unbending. And then after that, we went to, what was it, Indum 2? Where we read the Pilgrim's writings, and he was essentially writing about the Unity, explaining it to some followers, and dealing with a lot of frustration of them not understanding. What else did we learn? We learned that the Pilgrim and Gian Varuk met and fought. Gian Varuk, I am pretty sure, is a Starborn, seeing as he had a very similar time loss experience. This is also seen with the scientist that discovers the first artifact on Mars. He has a time loss experience where he meets himself, and his vision of himself gives him the plans for the grav drive, and also lets him know what will happen when they're developing the grav drive, the destruction of Earth. So essentially, the scientist that makes and invents the grav drive knows that it will result in the destruction of our homeworld, and it exchanges our homeworld for the stars. But I find it very interesting that the Pilgrim, who I am fairly certain is the hunter and is like the transitionary period where he goes from being the hunter to being Keeper Aquilus. I find it very interesting that him and Jean Varuk met, and it seemed like he was trying to convince Jean Varuk to take his interpretation of the Unity. And this is also why I think that the Great Serpent is a metaphor for the Unity. I'm fairly certain in that it is a metaphor of some kind for the Unity. He has, I believe it was 2180 was the year. He is on a colony ship. They jump. The ship goes missing. During the jump, he loses track of time, has a vision of the Great Serpent, which is essentially the creator of the galaxy. I believe it's the galaxy. I don't know. Think they say the universe in any of the writings. And that he will return one day and the great shrouding will occur where he swallows the entire galaxy and only the faithful will be spared. So that's essentially the background for the Varun. We have Jean Varuk makes his Unity jump, has his vision, and then after that they settle on Varun Kai, and then I think it's 20 years before the Serpent's Crusade, Jean Varuk decides to reveal themselves to the settled systems. Then the Serpent's Crusade happens. I think there's only one notable battle from the Serpent's Crusade, and that takes place in the Wolf system. The old den was destroyed by the Varun. They build the new den as like a replacement for it. So there's a new star station there. And what happens after that? Jean Varuk dies. His, I believe it's his brother, Jurek Varun, takes over. He sues for peace immediately. They set up an emissary in New Atlantis to try and normalize relationships. And we saw that, I believe, in episode 2 of this series. We went through all the writings of the emissary. Or the embassy. We see Sia, which is a priestess from Dazra. She visits. She ends up storming out of the embassy, and that kind of causes everyone to withdraw from the embassy, except for the ambassador. What was his? His name was like Balmora or something. If memory suits me correctly. He stays behind, seeking a life of contemplative prayer and trying to represent the Varun in hopes that the Varun sometime in the future want to reestablish relations with the rest of the settled systems. And that's kind of where we're at with the story for the Varun. I mean, they're a very interesting people, very dogmatic people, and it seems like they take a very literal interpretation of Jean Varun's vision, whereas I think it might be more of a metaphor for the Unity. Basically, I think he saw the Unity during his grav jump, and his interpretation of that Unity was a great serpent. He might have saw a great serpent. I mean, when you go to the Unity, you see yourself, But that's clearly not yourself, so he may have seen a great serpent. The Unity might present itself as whatever it needs to when you do visit it. We don't know. So he may have actually seen a great serpent, but it seems like a metaphor to me of the Unity itself.
Did you expect it? I think you may need to read the jet
And I think I'm going to end it here.
I'm sure
I do appreciate everyone that stayed and watched the whole thing. And like always, please enjoy the rest of your night. And I fractured a limb.